James's baked potato with some sort of a Lebanese sauce made by President's Choice, and a salad and a power bowl and some grapes. And I'll maybe talk about this a little bit, but really I just want to compare it to Man About the House and A Dangerous Idea about eugenics, and genetics, and other things. It took me a while to get through that A Dangerous Idea, because frankly it was boring, and it shouldn't be. It shouldn't be a boring topic at all. It was, but we'll get to it. I had to stop several times and take a break, but The Crown still, I haven't returned it yet, so still gets top of the stack. It's awesome. Season 5, oh, worth watching. I don't know who wouldn't want to watch it. It's, even if you're not into the whole British monarchy or whatever, it's a good time watching this. So, yeah. I mean, one thing about this that James and I were commenting through, it's, I don't know if this is how, if Charles was really like this, you know, if he was really bucking to be king, and he felt like, you know, he had some strong leadership qualities that he wanted to offer. Yeah, he had so much to offer, and it's like, he kept saying that in this, you know, that, or the like, right? And you're watching it going, well, if he really had so much to offer, why wasn't he offering it? I mean, he's just waiting to be king, and with the British monarchy, it's like they were talking about Queen Victoria syndrome with Queen Elizabeth here, and whatever that means. Really, I mean, when I'm watching this, I was thinking about Charles having, what's her name? What was her name? The one who was... Nope. The one who was, she was running as vice president for McCain. Do you remember her?
Sarah Palin.
Yeah, Sarah Palin. So I was thinking, Sarah Palin syndrome. Because, I mean, it seemed like she had no idea that vice president wasn't president. You know, she'd watched how George Bush was really not the decider that he kept saying that he was, right? He was a puppet. And
handled by Dick Cheney.
Yeah, which
sometimes Cheney had to bring out a big stick and slap him on the upside the head.
Yeah. So it seemed like Charles had that going on. It's like, okay, the thing about the British monarchy, the reason that the public accepts them, I think, is because they are just a constitutional monarchy. You're not going to be a big leader with so many things to offer as a king or queen.
Better not be.
You better not be.
Yeah, you better.
Or you're going to lose the whole shot for everyone, because that's why everyone puts up with it.
If you've got big ideas, abdicate and run on your own.
Go run on your own. Yeah. Don't be king, because it's a constitutional monarchy.
It's your figurehead.
So anyway, I think that's all I'm going to say about that, because I have to return it to the library. Other people will want to watch it. Other people should want to watch it. It's great. So, Man About the House. This was it says the hilarious British predecessor to Three's Company. And so I was watching it, and one thing I noticed, the music, the theme song is not nearly as good. In fact, it's really quite awful. The theme music, it's
just music, right? It's not even, doesn't have
oh
lyrics.
Yeah, you're right, it doesn't even have lyrics.
Yeah, but it sure sounds cheesy. Wow.
Yeah, it's pretty cheesy. And so anyway, that might have had some role in why I like the Three's Company more. It's just the lyrics. I don't know, but I think.
But you're saying there was better casting too than the American one, at least with Don Knotts.
Well,
the Roper guy.
Not all the way, because I think the three in this, in Man About the House, the three roommates, I think they're actually better in this. But all of them are kind of bimbos. All three of them are bimbos in this one. Whereas Jack Tripper, he was kind of a bimbo.
Kind of.
And Chrissy, well, definitely a bimbo. But Janet, not really. You know, Janet was kind of sensible, wasn't she? I mean, she didn't seem like a bimbo. But anyway, yeah, this is, I think the three in this are better than the three in, and honestly, I mean,
You're saying
I
they're
really-
all bimbos, is that what
yeah,
you're saying?
but I really liked Jack Tripper in the role. I really liked
Lousy actor, good comedian. That's my-
Suzanne Summers in Three's Company.
Lousy actor,
What? I liked her
the
in that.
blonde.
You
It's
didn't
not a
like
good
her?
actor. I like her.
I liked her in that. Anyway, well, maybe,
She played
Some didn't like-
Ditz. I think she was kind of playing herself.
well, anyway, whatever. But in this one, Mr. Roper and his wife, I think I liked them more in Three's Company. So that's the thing, you know, it's tough because they play more of a, I guess you see them more often in this one. And it kind of makes sense because in Britain, I don't know if it's still that way, but it seems the local pub on the corner is like that's where everyone hangs out, right?
Yeah, they tried to make that here. You know, they had this big idea sometime in the 80s. Oh, we'll make civilized drinkers out of Canadians by having local pubs. Sure. And the local pubs just became hangouts, drunken.
Well, I mean, there's some
slobbish
that work out. Like there's a pub in Grand Prairie, near where my mother lives, and
It's worked out here.
It's been there forever. I mean,
Oh, I know
the
that
Crown
one.
and Anchor.
The
It's
Crown and Anchor.
yeah, but I think that has more to do with a lot of the workforce in Grand Prairie. A lot of the workforce are going. I mean, it'll change now. It'll be changing, but I mean, Grand Prairie, it's either lumber or oil around there, right? And so a lot of the people from Newfoundland and elsewhere in the Maritimes, they come over from away. They come to Grand Prairie and they work the oil rigs and whatever. And so I think they bring that culture with them. You know, the people in Newfoundland, I think maybe they seem to have kept the
British tradition
sure
of drinking.
more, yeah, in the pub. At least they've managed to keep that Crown and Anchor afloat for as long as, like, since I was a child. It's still there.
That's what was intended.
So-
I hadn't realized that.
Yeah. So anyway, and they have fun little things, trivia nights and whatever. And
Oh, do they?
oh yeah,
You've actually visited there occasionally?
yeah. And I mean, we could go sometime if you. My mum would love it. For you
Yeah.
and her, you can sit there and do
I've
trivia.
walked by there so
I
many
will
times.
just sit there because I can't drink alcohol anymore because it gives me a headache. Everything gives me a headache. So many things. Anyway, so I can drink water. Sit and drink water. Anyway, what was I going to say about this? I don't like the way halfway through they stop and play the awful music again.
Oh my
So they're
God.
like, part one is over and they play this awful theme song music
Stay
again.
tuned
And
so you
it's
can
like,
hear it
oh
at
my
the
gosh, it's bad enough to hear it just at the beginning. So, it's, you know, you might watch it and go, oh, this is really awful. But this is how TV used to be. So, there wasn't.
I think it's awful nowadays, but
Well-
it's, except for the stuff, the series thing, you know, continued series, like Breaking Bad or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Better Call
Yeah,
Saul.
there's some-
That's the way better.
Yeah, there's some things that are way better. But, yeah, Men About the House. I thought that the jokes were funnier in this than they were in Three's Company.
Well, you kind of expect that.
But-
The only literate people in the United States are people of Jewish extraction.
You're
It's
going to
just-
love that, too.
Yeah. I'm kind of
I
trying to
tasted
spread
some
it
off
around.
the spoon after
Yeah.
I served it up for James.
Yeah.
It's fantastic.
Anyway, it's just not enough of a population base. You know, it's a small percentage of the population, and you know, to really get much learning. Like just in England, some people read books. It's not just Jewish people.
So, a dangerous idea. Eugenics, genetics, and the American dream. And this is an important issue. They raise some important issues that, things that we've heard about before, and we're often told about Native people being having their reproductive rights violated by the medical communities or whatever. And the thing is, it's not only them. It's you go in for an abortion and you sign your reproductive rights away, and you hope for the best, and
oftentimes you get the
and
worst.
oftentimes you get the worst. So, is it happening on purpose? I think it is, but what do I know? But on that same note, you live and you learn, and if I had a daughter, there is no way I would strongly advise against her going to have an abortion if she ended up pregnant as a teenager. Because you never know what the doctor might decide to do.
Or it just might happen. So Germaine Greer, the feminist, purported feminist, she has some feminist stuff. She's been bushwhacked by the.
But she said it was because of multiple abortions.
Multiple abortions, but she said she regretted because she couldn't have kids.
But if you're a teenager who goes in for 1 or 2 abortions, and you end up fixed so that you can't have children, is that fair? I don't know, but they bring it up in this a bit, and
about doctors just letting it slip.
Well, about people being anyway. They don't portray it that way. They don't talk about abortion and how it may be happening today. It's not on the books as, like here, they were talking about how when it was actually, they were doing this to people and it was on the books that they were sterilizing them. They were...
they thought they were doing everyone a favor.
Yeah, they thought they were doing a service. Exactly. They were thinking, well, these people who come in, they'd rate them as, do they have aggressive tendencies? Do they have this, that, and whatever? Are they below average intellect? Do they have a...
There was one black woman who'd been sterilized and IQ tested at 75, according to what I saw in school, which is very low.
Yeah, so, they're looking at that and saying, okay, well, we don't want this in our society, so I'm going to sterilize. And it's not only that, it's children who are blind. They're thinking, well, should children who are blind even live? Oh. Like, they were looking at that.
I actually heard that. That's just people talking that way should just get, frankly, shouted down. This isn't a matter of...
So, they were talking about some important issues here that need to be talked about. I just don't think that they were doing a good job of it. So, they were talking about genetics and how they thought that finding out about the human genome, that was just going to answer all the questions. And they're basically, the people in this, they're shooting it down. They're basically saying, well, it doesn't answer any questions, and so we should just forget about it or whatever. But no, the thing is they looked at it and they went, okay, this doesn't answer all the questions that we thought it was going to, but it raises so many questions, and we have to keep learning. You don't just say, okay, well, it's not what we thought it would be, let's just ignore it. No. So if it turns out that, like they mentioned, promiscuity maybe being a gene, there may be being a gene for that. Well, they have actually found that, like I reviewed a great course recently. So this is recent science. I mean, these great courses aren't that old. And so I reviewed it, and what was it? It was monogamy. You can have a gene for monogamy. You're more likely to want to stay in a committed relationship with one person. And there's a gene that you may not have that, right? You may have so they actually talked about that in the great course. So they're saying, this isn't true, this isn't true. Well, yeah, some of it is. They are not giving evidence, but I have actually seen some
they've never
given by
identified
great courses.
a gene for a particular type of behavior. They kept on saying that again and again, and you're giving a counterexample
yes.
there.
We reviewed it just recently. You can look back in the notes or in the videos that we recorded, and I've reviewed a great course, and it mentioned that. Now, what was that one called? I can't remember. Wish I could remember. It was a good one. Anyway, so what else bothered me about this show?
Well, that's an immensely dangerous criticism because they kept on saying there's no single gene that's been identified with any sort of behavior. Yep. Now, the people that were being reported about in the great course might be wrong, but you don't go around saying,
I would believe them over these guys.
I would. Yeah.
So, anyway.
These guys kept talking about science. If you got them away from this topic about technology and stuff like that, they'd be totally anti-science.
Yeah, well, that's just it. That's what they came across as being. They're not into science. Mm-hmm. Like, one person was talking about mice, and like apparently wheat has a huge number of genes that makes up their genome, and mice have more than we do, I think, or something like that. And honestly, James and I have watched a lot of rodents, and they are crazy smart. Mm-hmm. So I don't like in this they say, well, you don't see any mice writing any novels or great symphonies. And it's like, okay, yeah, I know where these guys are coming from, because they're thinking, oh yeah, that's the height, you know? That's what makes humans so awesome, because if you can write a great novel, yeah, you're top notch.
Absolutely devastating.
I mean, come on.
Symphony.
It's
you
ridiculous.
aren't sharp as, let's say, spit, if you are, especially, was it a great novel?
Yeah, novels.
Okay.
Yeah.
Symphonies are less intellectually accomplished, but the Pauline, what she writes really good poetry. It's getting better all the time, but she's actually got a degree in something useful, you know, like agriculture.
Well, I was trying,
stuff like that.
You know,
and she's got a diploma in
honestly,
horticulture.
like I wanted to take. At the time when I started the agriculture, really I was thinking I wanted to make my dad proud, because my dad was dying at the time. And he would have like he said to me before, you would have made a really great farmer. And that was like the best compliment my dad could give. So him dying and knowing, oh, she's going to school to study agriculture, he'd feel like good, you know, she's gonna do something great. But
well, he still exists in your mind. My feeling is a person doesn't really die until the people who have actually a direct memory of them die. So my mom's still living in my head. My dad is too.
And honestly, I don't know if I didn't, like, I would have liked to go the biological sciences stream, but I don't know if it was really out of cowardice, like, that I didn't, or maybe that you and Dad are so interested in geography and maps and stuff that I thought, oh, I should do that, you know. And so, because I'm amiable, and amiable people do things like that. So anyway, and then I took this thing, and it turned out to be a lot of mapping. It was just mapping of things, but not understanding maps at all. Like, I have no understanding of where anything in the world is. Whereas James, he can, like, if he meets somebody on the trails in Waterton and they're from such and such in Germany or in Africa or in wherever, he'll say to them, like, he'll listen to their accent a bit or something, and he'll say, "Are you from around the such and such," or whatever, right? And from the such and such
city.
river, or whatever, and they're like, yeah. And usually they're totally shocked that he knows so much about the geography, their home. He knows so much about their home, and he knows so much about
for people to
their
say
accents and their languages and stuff like that.
You know more about Iran or India than I do. And I say, actually, I don't, but I know certain things about it that you don't, but you'd know way more in total. But that's not unusual. It's not more than 50%, but it's not unusual. So it's places sometimes that people have never even heard of.
But anyway, yeah, I would have been interested in the biological side.
Yeah, so recently I ran across a guy from Burundi. I guessed he was Hutu, and I kind of forgot.
How do you like that sauce?
It's good.
I know, eh?
Anyway, Bujumbura, capital, so on and so forth. So
looks like you have one of the great courses to talk
finished.
about. Awesome.
Exactly. I don't know if I've got much time. Do you
Okay.
want to
I'll look
just check and see?
Yeah.
I think it feels like 3 minutes left.
Okay. So, nope, you have more than that. You have 7 minutes and 15 seconds.
Yeah.
So give her a
There you go.
go.
So, I got finished yesterday. Was the Greek world, a study of history and culture. So this is another great course. This features a guy called Robert Garland. He teaches, or at least he was teaching, at Colgate University. Where is that? I think it's in New York State. He's got his PhD in ancient history from University College London, and doesn't bother mentioning where he got his master's or his bachelor's. And I don't know if they even have the same kind of streaming as they have in the United States and Canada. But his research focuses on social, religious, political, and cultural history of Greece and Rome. He's written 15 books. That's maybe a bit too much, but professors really professors of history, like how many great historians have there been? You can count them on the thumbs of my third hand. I only have 2. It's just, what can you write that's really ingenious about history? I'd say maybe the greatest historian would be a guy called Isaac Newton, who realized that there were centuries too many of years in the Egyptian chronology. And then guys who followed up on it, Emmanuel Velikovsky, managed to date within a generation or so the 18th dynasty of Egypt, by extension the end of the 17th dynasty of Egypt. He really screwed up the 19th dynasty, and frankly the transition between the 18th and 19th dynasty. That was handled by a guy called Donovan Corville. Those are probably the 3 greatest historians that I can think of, because they actually were doing research that people hadn't done before. It's not like digging into an archives. I can remember one historian saying, "Man, there's nothing like breathing the smell of an untouched archive," or something like that. And I said, yeah. And then, but I was thinking, no. I think my favorite archive that I was able to dig into, aside from the Assyrian Annals, would be the Amarna tablets. And people have known about the tablets for well over 100 years. I think it might be more closer to 150 years. They've just misinterpreted them. They're in cuneiform script. So they got some of the names wrong. Read very incorrectly. Abdi Heba. There is, as Velikovsky pointed out, Jehoshaphat. Velikovsky didn't have enough experience with the cuneiform script to realize Abdi Heba, what was being read as Abdi Heba, should be read something like ear or Shaphat, Heba, Shaphat, and it's just was misread. So Heba, Abdi, means servant, but they should have gone with the Sumerian reading, IR, and said, well, ours in cuneiform script can be read as a L, and then unvoiced or devoiced L, like LL in Welsh, and then from there be read like CH in German. Just the way it goes. Welcome to the world of cuneiform studies, and just linguistics in general. So yeah, people were making fun of Velikovsky. Oh, that's Jehoshaphat. Jehoshaphat was a monotheist, really devout, as described in the Hebrew scripture. And Abdi Heba means the servant or slave of the god Hepat or Heba. No way Jehoshaphat would have a name like that. It wasn't up to him. He wouldn't have known the cuneiform script. And I'm afraid the person who was putting his letters into the cuneiform script played a little joke on him. Okay, so how much time? 2.5?
About 2
minutes. So I'll deal a little bit more with this a little bit later on. I've got a couple of books on the boil that have to do with that. I did want to deal with this. Check how cute this little kid is.
Cute.
Circus Boy. And you see how the Whitman things oftentimes were TV series?
Oh.
So it says authorized TV edition. And as soon as I saw that, I said, I've heard of this. Circus Boy, never saw it. This dates from 1958. Mm-hmm. And you see this cute pie face here? Mm-hmm. You change the hair to brown and make the boy a little over 20, put him behind a set of drums, and he's singing. And I saw her face. Now I'm a believer. Not a place. A trace of doubt in my mind. I'm Mickey Dolenz. Ooh, yeah, he apparently starred in Circus Boy. Mickey Dolenz, putative drummer of the Monkees, and their best and really only decent lead singer. Well, Michael Nesmith wasn't bad. But anyway, this actually was well written. It was pretty good, a little bit more lengthy than a Hardy Boy, or a Hardy Boy story, mystery, or a Nancy Drew mystery, and it comes actually recommended. It wouldn't be published, it's a publication. It was actually pretty well.
Well, people can find all sorts of things on Amazon.
I guess. Anyway, hopefully not beaten up as badly as this. Believe me, I didn't beat it up. It was beaten up already. So how much time? Half a minute?
Yep.
So, yeah, it's the big star of it, aside from Corky. That's the name of the kid played by Mickey Dolenz. Bimbo, the baby elephant.